Right, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to those of you who have come for the virtual open house. Thank you, Andrea, for being here today with me. Over the next few minutes, we will go through a little bit of the overview of the program, the application process, sources of funding, what the student experience will likely be. And I have it set to where you won't be able to like turn your camera on, those sorts of things. And that's just to keep the presentation of where we'll be able to easily post this to YouTube for people who might be interested after. But if you have questions at any point along the way, feel free to send them through the chat. And Andrea and I will be handling those either during, while we're presenting, talking, or at the end. And so we'll make sure we're going to have a Q&A at the end, but it'll sort of be along the way as well. And so without further ado, off we go. Welcome. My name is Jay Walker. I am the program director. And so if and when you have questions and or issues regarding the program, not only in the application process, but in like during your student experience, I am not always the person who will fix it or knows how to fix it, but I am not a bad person to think of who you might need to ask. And so I'm sort of like a face for the program. And so I often handle questions. We do have a question that's come in, but I will get to this here in a bit. Okay. And then with me today is also Andrea. Andrea, would you like to say hello? No, Andrea is out here somewhere in internet land. Oh,
Hello,
now,
can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you, Andrea.
Great.
Hey,
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea. I'm a second semester master student here at ODU in the program, and I work as a research assistant at the Draga Center for Economic Analysis and Policy, and I'm currently program ambassador as well. And yeah, I was trying to unmute myself and say that Dr. Walker is definitely the person to ask questions about the program, and he's always gonna be there to help you. So thank you for being here.
yeah, thank you, Andrea. And we will be back and forth throughout the presentation. You can ask both Andrea and
Yeah.
myself. And so here's an overview of what she and I will sort of talk through in the next few minutes, just talking about student life and experience, the faculty that you will be interacting with, career opportunities. So you can perhaps look and see where our alumni work. I'll give you some clues and tips on how you might be able to see that in addition to some information, ideas on where financial aid and scholarships are available, how to apply, and then we'll have lots of time at the end for questions. And so if you don't already, although at least from the names I see in our participants, I think many of you already do, please follow us on LinkedIn. We have a lot of information that goes out about due dates for upcoming applications, news from the department, when students have things that they do, accomplishments, alumni networking events, updates, all those sorts of things. So please, here's a QR code with the dinosaur in the middle, if you don't already, that will
Mhm.
take you there. And if not, please just sort of run a search for MA Economics at ODU and you will find us. And so the brief overview of the program. And so this is sort of the quick 30 to 60-second idea. And so there are 10 classes, 30 credit hours. You finish 10 courses and you are finished. We generally assume that that would take around 4 full-time semesters, although students do sometimes finish more quickly. And so it is available in person. It is officially launching online, so you could be a fully online student regardless of where you are in the United States or in the world. Officially starting in fall of 26, but we can, just the way the semesters and the courses flow, we could take students in the spring for that as well. Um, and so full and part-time. Many of our students who work in the Hampton Roads area take classes part-time, 1 to 2 a semester. Just think 10 classes. If you take one a semester, it'll take you 10 semesters, two a semester, 5 semesters, right? That's the magic number. We do have assistantship opportunities, and I'll talk more about that. I think Andrea will as well. Like within the department and across the university. For international students, we are STEM certified. This means that a graduate from our program could qualifies for up to 3 years of extended optional practical training before you would need H-1B sponsorship. And our focus is not really like a theoretical focus. We are focused on applied data analysis. And so our econometrics series, the statistical courses use R. And our hope is when students graduate that they are ready to either come out and be productive in a sort of like analyst, economist slash role in government, private industry, or we have like a fourth to a third who continue on in the PhD programs, and that you could make a case for being a productive research assistant coming into that PhD program, right? That
Yeah.
can help you get funded.
Yeah. For
Good.
sure. I wanted to talk about the or you definitely get the skills in the program to, once you graduate, be ready for either the industry or PhD. So yeah.
Yes. Yep. Andrea has
So
been learning R. We have talked about this on various occasions. It is fun. So, Andrea, how have you found adjusting to a master's program? You were an undergraduate economics major, correct? Or economics or finance? I can't quite remember.
yeah, I did more finance on my undergrad. It's definitely a different experience. If you're international, just moving to a new place itself, but adjusting from undergraduate to master's, I find it more like focused onto, just the specific classes for the masters. And I think that the course load is definitely, you have like the 3 credits hours, even though back in your bachelor's you will have a little more, but here's like more heavy, like each class has like heavy content that you have to go through. Excuse me. And then professor interaction, the professors are really helpful here. They're definitely there for you if you have any questions about assignments, or if you have questions just about the masters in general, they can help you with that. And I would recommend that when you go or are coming into the master's program, you are ready with some knowledge about, like, the prerequisites that we have in the program, so that'll be helpful so you can adjust easier to it, like faster to the program. So yeah, I would say come prepared, and also it's definitely um it's exciting. It feels like you are getting ready for either like the industry coming out with a master's, or you're getting ready to pursue a PhD, and this gives you like either one. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is our hope anyway. I would say that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
trying to get people ready. It really is a focus. And so like so your undergraduate was in the United States, Andrea. And
Yes.
so how have you found transferring because your undergraduate was in Texas, I believe. And so
Yeah.
how have you found the student life here to be in terms of on campus?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of cultural diversity. We have a lot of international students from different places in the master's program. So you don't feel like you're alone, or you are the only international student going through the whole process of moving. You definitely have your classmates here that can support you through that. And we have student organizations like Global Student Friendship House. They host like dinners, and they can even help you move. Like if you ever need to move, if you need to find a place to stay, like, they help you with that. It's like a community of international students, but also domestic students are welcome to join as well. And yeah, we have like a community here of people that are transitioning from either like another country or just another program, and it's really helpful. We have events and workshops. We definitely have the uh like the international events, but we also host like what is a new like the first week of like classes, we have events. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We
Yeah, we
have like
have
a
events.
welcome events and we have some
Yes.
workshops within the department. This just happened in the last few days.
Yeah.
Some workshops for the spring are just now starting to formalize. So there
Yeah.
are options like within the program and across the university as well.
Yeah, and when it comes to cultural differences, it's definitely a culture shock if you either are moving from one state to the other or just coming from abroad. Like, yes, it is, but I find it helpful, like just with our classmates that are also international, just finding support with them and talk to our professors, talked about how like what we need and how they can help us. Like they're definitely there for us. And you will meet a lot of new people. So you will
Yeah.
definitely, networking relationships and social skills will be developed and used as well.
Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I meet new people every semester. It's exciting as a professor as well, not just a student.
Yes.
Um, and so this is one again. So Andrea, I hate to lean on you too much here, but
No.
as a professor, I think that I might be looking for housing in different places, like than what students might be. And so the cost of living here is not Washington, D.C. It is
Mm,
not New York
yeah.
City, but I mean, it is relatively expensive, like according to where you may
Yeah.
be coming from.
But
Um,
we definitely have options here. There one option that we have is the Global Friendship House. They have rooms. It's pretty much a whole it's apartment complex where a bunch of international students, not only from the MA program, but from other, programs as well. They live there. They have like low rates for the room, so it's more affordable, but also, we have websites that is odu.rent. If you go there, there are houses around campus that have really affordable options. You will have roommates, and they always post when it like is a transition between one semester to the other one. They have postings, and you can go in there and see, okay, this is a house that is not that far. You can go. It's like probably 5 minute walk off
right,
campus. So yeah,
right.
that's
And
not bad at all.
so you mentioned something I think is good for some people to internalize too. So if you live near campus, I think that it's probably not necessary to have a car. But if you're very far from campus, how have you found public transportation to be in Norfolk? Um,
Yeah, well, I bike to campus sometimes, so bike is an option. We also have buses. We have a 360 like 5 Go Pass, that's the name. It's like $50 for the whole year. And you get two routes. One route goes from like the school to downtown Norfolk, and there's another route that goes like the other way around. But those are like if you don't find a place that is closer, you can still take the bus, you can have a bike, and it's like affordable options that you can have. And yeah, when it comes to weather and climate today, it felt cold. So if you're coming in this fall semester, you should definitely be ready to adjust to the cold. It's a little um, like you definitely need to bring a jacket, and especially for me, I'm from Mexico, and it's hot over there. So if you are from an area that is like definitely hot, be ready for the.
and
Today is one of the first days it felt like I needed a jacket to go
the
out.
jacket. Okay, I'll
Yes.
admit. So it's if you're used to like, it's possible that you can get snow in Virginia, but maybe once or twice a year. You need a
Yeah.
jacket. We are not New York State or Minneapolis, Minnesota, but it does cool off in the winter.
Yes.
Um, and these are just some things to think about if you're comparing living in Virginia versus other parts of the country that I think is interesting or worth taking into consideration. We do have an airport in Norfolk. It's a regional airport, but you can get in and out of the country starting in, I mean, you would have to connect through other places, but starting in Norfolk without having to
Yeah.
drive. And then we also have an Amtrak station that can take you to like Washington, D.C., in buses as well, right? So there's some
Yeah.
options to travel that aren't just having a car. Car is convenient, but not absolutely
Yeah.
necessary.
And even the Amtrak, I think it takes you all the way to New York City. So if you
Yes,
just want to go on a fall break trip, you could do that.
but there is a cheaper bus option that goes overnight, I believe. We were joking about this.
The point is you have options. Yes.
Options. Okay. So to keep us moving along, the curriculum, um, again, so like I said, 10 classes. It's fairly straightforward. And so you really you have two elective options. And so this is where our program is relatively fixed in terms of what you will take. And so our econometric secret sequence, the statistical courses, Econ 700, Econ Analytics, and then econometrics 1, 2, and 3 is the heart of that applied data analysis um, uh, part of the program. Econ 625 and Econ 700, this math econ and econ analytics are like your first semester courses. That is really the base for most of the rest of what you're going to take. Two theory classes, you get to choose two electives, and those can be according to your interest. We have students who sometimes take classes outside of economics. In case you are thinking about a PhD and you want to take more mathematics courses, this is something that you can work with me and we can just have a conversation. You can talk to other students as well, of course. You're not going to be alone in preparing for a PhD if you're in the program. The program wraps up with the economic methodology and research. It's the capstone class where we do not call it a thesis, but you can think of it at least being similar to a thesis in that you would you would come up with a research idea, you gather data, you try to answer a research question with the data and perform a literature review. And so it comes in the form of what I would consider a paper on on track towards publication. But that's if you have me as an advisor for the course, you can choose or you can work to see who you work with. Speaking of that, who could you work with? Right. So, like if you were interested more in, um, I was trying to think, public economics, fiscal policy, Bob McNabb, he's worked with students who are interested in government spending and its effects, right? And so this is just where you're on your way through the program. You will naturally gravitate towards some professors more than others. And these are the faculty, there are more, but these are the ones that actively teach in the program. McNabb has this applied econometrics, fiscal sort of angle. Cardazzi teaches in the econometric sequence. He works in, like applied micro, but he's interested in sports. And I don't know. I think Alex has some fun projects. This is partially because he overlaps with me some as well. But he has the classes where you talk about causal inference and works in R. Professor Sellover is international. Professor Strong is our does macroeconomics for those of you with interest in macro. You'll have Haiwen Zhao. He teaches the micro theory course. Evie Zhang has environmental health. Some overlap with me there too. Then you have me. I'm more of like a labor and or education kind of interest. And then we have Rex City. I moved this new picture over and somehow I apologize. You see Rex to the far right. I did not get his name. My apologies to Rex if or when he watches this video. I'll fix that for next semester. career opportunities. And so I've hinted at this already. Um, where are our graduates going? And so 2/3, 3/4 tend to go into industry, working for government, private enterprise. We have some that work for like non-government organizations, development. And then we've got like a fourth or so, a third that go into PhD programs. Um, we have an event coming up in about 3 weeks, I believe, on November 7th, where we talk to some of our alumni who are currently in PhD programs. You'll see here one of them is at the University of Houston, one of our alumni at Howard, and then our alumni at CUNY Baruch will be with us just to answer some questions. And then here's a list of some of the places some of the alumni or the recent alumni work. But what you could do, and this is what I often do, it's how I've connected with a number of our alumni. If you go into LinkedIn and you go under either Old Dominion University, and you can limit under the alumni selection, you can choose people who studied economics. And if you do that, you can see where graduates from our university work currently. And so why take my word for it when you could go look for yourself? That would be my thing. So if you don't like the list, you can go make your own. Andrea and I think we're going to share this one. And so how have we started with you? Because you're still second semester in terms of career. Um,
Yeah. So when it comes to the e-portfolio development, I worked on it with Dr. Walker when I
yeah.
took his class, and I learned how helpful it is now that I have been to some conferences and people are showing their work at this conference. You can see that once you graduate, you need to have a place where all of your work that you have, like, been through or like worked on during the master's program is ready to show. Like, that's the thing about e-portfolio development. And yeah, I think that's really important. And we also have like the career services, right, on
Yeah.
campus. I think that it's important that you consider internships, opportunities, and mainly is so that once you graduate, you have the experience, like the actual experience of like working at a place. So that will be really important to consider an internship and the networking with like people that have been in this like master in the past, like learning from their experiences and like learning how they prepare for stuff and like how they like transition either into industry or to a PhD. That's really important to know as well. And yeah, we had the state of the region presentation and the economic forecast from the Draga Center. That's where I am working right now. And those are really important. They are free for students, correct? Yes. And
Mhm.
you, a lot of people come to these presentations that could be, your future employees. Like you have chances to, future
Interact.
employers, you have chances to network with them as well.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunities to network around here and just to, maybe you met someone at a conference and now they have an internship for you later that you could apply to. And yeah, just
Yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah. That reminds me, so I made those of us who sort of help coordinate the program. We met some people who are looking to hire interns for the summer. I actually got something this week I need to share with students. So, um,
Mhm.
with Canvas being down yesterday sort of threw my day off. I'm not sure. We have a few international students, but there were some computer problems nationwide
Yes.
yesterday for a while. Um, and so some of the things that Andrea mentioned aren't necessarily unique to us, but I can tell you that if this is something that I, as the coordinator, am very interested in, and there are other people on campus. So if you are interested, there are people who are willing to help you. I will say that. I'm a really big proponent of this e-portfolio. Even if you don't end up studying with us, I think you should at least look into it as something for yourself. If you're looking to apply to other schools, and then also if you're thinking about PhD programs or just jobs in general, just type in ODU e-portfolio and you can see some examples. We have a department that works with students here. So in terms of financial aid and scholarships, so Andrea is on assistantship as an international student. Andrea, does that cover all of your expenses?
It does not cover all of the expenses, some of the expenses, but it helps with the tuition. The tuition waiver, it's really helpful to have if since you're in assistantship, you get that. It's 61% tuition waiver. And then you will get also the stipend, like you will get paid through the semester if you are doing your assistantship. So
Mhm.
that will also help covering the cost of the tuition. But yeah, it does not cover all of the expenses, but it covers some of them. And again, there are affordable options that you can find here around either like with housing or like, food options. I forgot to mention, like if you leave a global friendship house, they have options to take you to like Walmart like once or twice a month, and you can go there, buy food. Like there are options to make it work, even if it does not cover everything.
Yeah, so this is not just an advertisement for global friendship. I almost
No,
made the joke earlier, but
but they
we
are
we
really
just
helpful.
we just happen to have I think four students who currently live there, and
Yes.
they, from what I understand, they have always had a good experience. So at least for international students, I think it is a place that is worth considering.
Yeah.
Um, and just to echo one thing that Andrea said, so with the assistantship, if you're either out of state and domestic or you're an international student, um, the stipend is enough to cover basically your school expenses plus a portion of living expenses. But you will most likely need to have either savings or someone to help you because it's not going to be enough to cover everything. And I always encourage students, right? So this is just some information that you have about us. Some other schools can offer less, some other schools can offer more, but this is why it is good to compare. And so for those of you as well, so like these rates will be different if you are on online student as well. So if you are online and out of state, that cost per credit hour is much closer to the in-state per credit hour here that you see. But a quick search for ODU online tuition rates will pull that up. It's good. Did we forget anything, Andrea?
No, I think
No,
I think
more or
that
less.
covers it for
Okay.
tuition and financial aid.
All right. And there are additional things that we can um, help you in applying for as well. So this is a question I regularly get is how do I apply for assistantships? And I normally do not share the details until after a student is admitted. And that's just to avoid um, like extra work on applicants' part. But many of these sources you can run a web search and find on your own. But there are some different buckets, like at the department level, we have grad assistants, plus we have the Dragus Center. I encourage students to always apply at the dean's level, at the dean's, like at the Strome College of Business level, which we have some students working with, and we have departments across campus. And so this last couple of weeks for a spring admit, we've been trying to coordinate an offer for a student who may be working across campus. And I'm excited about that. It's a new place. We have not had an MA student. There's discussing with the Office of Financial Aid, and then in general, the American Economic Association. If you just search this in, they discuss where you might be able to find sources of funding. There's also, if you are a student from Africa, um, I I did like a workshop presentation with Education USA. I was in Africa a couple of summers ago, and Education USA recommended Opportunities for African as a place where you might just be able to find information about scholarships or grants. Um, Andrea, were there other places? Can you think of some things that students might look for? Um, or how did it go with us? Did it seem like it was fairly intuitive in terms of your looking for an assistantship after admission?
I mean, you have the application that you need to complete for the assistantship, but I know that is handshake is an option as well, right? Where you can find
Yeah,
like other different, like works on campus or stuff like that. And that's something that you will need to like, if you're international, talk to like the visa office or international office about. But yeah, there are options on handshake
right.
that in case, yeah, you would like
Yeah.
to find something else.
Yeah. And so that's a good mention. So Handshake is where positions with the Dragus Center, or excuse me, with the Strom College of Business and across campus are often listed. And that comes once students can obtain their ODU email address. And so that's why I say when I admit, when you get the admission notification, then generally I'll say, well, here's where you go look for this.
Yep.
Here's how you apply for the department. And, I encourage you to, you know, send emails and look across campus. Like
Yeah.
the
And
hardest
we
thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna mention just real quick about the graduate school scholarships that they open this semester. For example, you can apply to those, and if you get them, I think that's like good source of funding, but that will be like at the graduate level from the graduate school scholarships that they offer as well.
Right, right. And so there are some listings like uh, Andrea said, where you can apply. We applied. Uh, I helped her. We did a rec letter. And I don't think that she got it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply again.
Correct.
That is right. And so once again, so I think the idea is like there are people like I will try to help. We have other people who work with me to help coordinate the program who will work to try to help you in trying to find funding after admission. Um, I mean, it is, I know it is difficult. Many people need funding in order to attend, and we are sensitive to that. So the application process. And so honestly, you can apply anytime you like. It's the application system is open. I think you can now apply through the fall of 26. I'm not sure about spring of 27 yet, but fall of 26 is open. Um, but like, but there's no rush because really decisions about assistantships won't be made for the fall until after you can see here it's got this March 1 priority deadline for assistantship consideration as we try to have everyone sort of together and then we'll look at the pool of students who've been accepted. And so if you want to come for the spring semester, so August 1 is the priority deadline for that. And so we still have students. I've seen students who are, putting information into the application system like just yesterday. I got a couple of notifications about that. But like at this point, so close to the semester, it is often difficult to find an assistantship and or especially as an international student, getting through the visa process is difficult. It can take time according to where you are. And so earlier is better, especially if you're coming from overseas. So if you're currently at ODU, I think we might have one person in the room from ODU. We may be able to direct admit you, which just means if you have a certain grade point average, um, that you won't even have to fill out the application, right? It's just a matter of making sure you have the prerequisites and that you have a certain GPA. You already know, like we already know each other because we're at the same university. And there's also a linked or a 4+1 program. Whereas if you're currently an undergraduate student, you might be able to go ahead and take some master's level classes before undergraduate graduation. And this could just make it quicker for you to graduate through the master's program. And so that's for current ODU students. and or for domestic students. Okay. Well, yes. Application process. What do you need? So, one letter of recommendation, an undergraduate GPA of at least a 3 on a 4.0 scale. Uh, one, you need to have at least one course in calculus at the college level, at the university level, college university level. Statistics and or intermediate economics. So that could be intermediate macro or micro. Um, you can unofficial transcripts are enough in terms of preparing your application. We do have English proficiency, which is here to the right. And you can take some different flavors or some different types of that test. I think we accept Duolingo, but if you're applying to multiple universities as an international student, it may be better to just go ahead and take the TOEFL because most universities may take that. That is why you should probably have a list of possible schools. We do offer a GRE waiver if you have a GPA of at least 3.3, and then we're asking for a statement of purpose. We are able to offer a provisional admission if for some reason, maybe if your GPA wasn't quite a 3, if you don't have perhaps the calculus course yet, but you've had your statistics and the intermediate classes, we might be able to admit you conditional on some certain things. But that's going to be on an individual level, so you may just want to email me or contact me to learn about that. Oh, and this is one thing. We do have, I think, 2 or 3 students who have participated in this in the last year. If you find yourself unable to prove English sufficiency as an international student, we can offer provisional acceptance. And what happens there is students coming into the program often will take one class in the program in economics, and then their first semester they take two courses in English, where they'll be writing and or speaking, and then after that semester, after you've been with us for a semester, you can retake those courses. That's a little easier if you come in the spring to do that, but it is available every semester. Well, actually, I was going to say this, but I can go first because we did have a question from Anarfi, and I meant to respond to it on application process. She is asking how would they know, or how would she know? How would they know if ODU has received GRE scores? And so to be certain, if it does not show up in your application as having the document there, from my understanding, I believe that you can see the documents that are listed under your application. I would recommend emailing international admissions, and I believe that's INTLADM at odu.edu. And that should they will be able to get back with you about that. And so feel free to ask questions. Andrea, was there anything extra that you would like to add? Because that was really everything that we have prepared in terms of.
Yeah, I would like to add that if you don't have one of the prerequisites, in my case, I did not have the calculus completed, so I took it here my first semester. Um, like if you want affordable options to take the class, you can take it at another local college while you are completing your classes for your first semester at the master's level. That is an option if you do not have like the prerequisite for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is something I know that domestic students would be familiar with this. International students may be less familiar. In the United States, we have like what is known as a community college or a junior college system. They are 2-year universities. And I believe, Andrea, you just emailed and they had you
Yeah.
registered within like a week.
They
Um,
had a international admissions office as well. They were like pretty quick and helpful, and yeah, they were welcoming with international students as well.
yeah, yeah, I'm always impressed at how quickly you can be registered for a class at it's called
This,
Tidewater Community
yeah,
College. Um,
yes.
we have had other students who wanted to do a PhD, and they found it cheaper to take some mathematics courses at at the junior college as well. And it's just something that we could talk about if you wanted to take prerequisite courses, or if you wanted to take some math courses in preparing for a PhD.
Yeah. At the end, it's just like to tell everyone that there are options to like make it work. If you come here, and even if you're coming from another country, I know it's scary. I've done it like about 5 years ago, but yeah, here people here will help you, and there are options to like make it work.
Mhm. And so I'll leave us open. I'll kind of sort of talk around a little bit for maybe another couple minutes just to see if there are any other questions. Um, so I did receive a question today. Aha. So here we go. This was the question I was going to talk about. So we had one question here that just arrived, but it was a question that arrived on LinkedIn um, this morning, asking about application fee waivers and if they are available. So I can tell you that at least at my level, what I can do at the program director level, I do not have either, I don't know if it's either the funds or the ability to offer waivers. But I did find out. And so if you are on the fence, but you are applying to different schools, I might recommend that you prepare your application with ODU and have it partially prepared. Um, I have some contacts, some friends who work in graduate admissions, and from my understanding is periodically, so like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, they will have an application waiver weekend where the fee is waived, and they email students who have partially completed applications. Um, and Andrea, you may think this is funny, or maybe not. How I found out about this was I used my personal email address and filled out a partial application just to see. I
That is
just want
funny.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
see what students saw, prospective
yeah,
students saw. So I filled out part of an application, but I did not want to pay $50 because, well, I'm not going to take classes. And
yeah.
I got an email encouraging me to submit my application for
That
free.
is a good way to find out. Try it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that's funny.
and so after that, I started emailing people. How can, like, are there certain weekends that I can just tell students, have it ready to go for this weekend in March? But I was told that they don't plan the dates, like they don't have fixed dates. I
Yeah,
was like, so it's more information than you had, but it may not be the exact perfect answer.
yeah.
Um,
Oh.
oh yeah, so I will say that it's not looking like we have other questions coming in. So Andrea, I will just assume that you and I did a great job. Uh, uh, all students here today, but this is a recommendation I make for students. If you're thinking about a PhD, a master's degree, you should at least check out this website if you have not already. So, the American Economic Association lists a lot of information about how to apply for graduate school, where to look for funds. It lists every program that exists in the United States in terms of one for graduate work in economics. And it just has a lot of good general information. And so if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Now this counts for the United States. So it's very good for information about the United States. But if you want to go study in Europe or Australia, that's going to be a different website. But for the United States, this is where I always recommend.
Yeah, definitely really helpful to prepare in advance
Yeah.
about it, as well as with the PhD program, just to think ahead. And
Yes. Yep. I
yeah.
was just talking to Andrea about taking the GRE here just a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Um, it is so she is in her first year now, and this is something I will encourage all of you. So during your first year, you don't have to know the first day what your plan is when you finish, but you should probably start planning if you want to do a PhD around like the fall semester of your first year, because most of your applications for PhD programs will happen, uh, like November, December of your second year, right? And so
Sure.
everyone who's here today this is a good time to be looking for fall of 2026. Um, and
Yeah.
Andrea is just she's doing the right things. She's working now so that 1 year from now she is ready to apply.
Yeah.
And this is it's not that you couldn't get in and get funding, but if you want to maximize your chances of getting funding, it is good to work ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely takes time to prepare for it. Doing advance is the best thing you can do, for
Yeah.
sure.
And Andrea did this as well when she was applying to come study with us. We talked, gosh, I don't know, 3 or 4
I
times.
did it a lot in advance. I
Yes,
applied.
it
I
was
don't think
good.
even the application was like I don't remember, but it was too early. Yes, I think it was good though.
Yeah, but this is where planning ahead can help because even if you get a full scholarship, this is domestic or international, there are just costs. I mean, it may just be moving, it may be getting your electricity turned on in your apartment. I mean, things take money, or application fees, or paying to take the GRE. There's just fee like costs that sort of appear. And so
Yeah.
that's where planning can help.
Yeah, and if you do it in advance, I mean, either way, if you do it in advance or no, like you're spending that money, so you might as well try to do it early so you maximize your chances of, getting in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good comment. Um, so we've got one more question that's come in, and it's almost like I planted it, but it was not. Someone has asked it. Um, will the slides and the video recording be made available after the session? Yes, it will. So it will probably in the next couple of days. So it may not be in the morning, but maybe Thursday. What I will do is I will share it on LinkedIn. So if you follow us there, and I also should have a list of people's emails who attended today. And so if you registered through LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that everyone who's listed there receives it as well. You can always email me though, and I'll share it. One more question come in. Very good. So assuming I submit my application this month, would I get decision within 2 weeks, but notification of assistantship after March? So if you applied now, you would likely, once the application is completed, it takes a few days to, the graduate school or international admissions to make sure that, to get things processed. As soon as I see it, which means I see it, we see it, the admissions committee, we really try to turn stuff around within 1 to 2 weeks. You should hear something from when you hit submit, probably within 2 to 3 weeks is what I would hope for. As far as assistantship offers, yes. So assistantship offers will at least be after March. Partially because we don't always know about what funding we will have. Um, but also it is just much easier to have everyone who is admitted together. I know that this can cause problems for international students. If you if we have international students with us. But I think you will find that this is pretty similar. Some departments may do it differently, but from my understanding, talking to coordinators at other departments, our timing is very similar to those across the country. So another good question. Thank you. Um, all right. So with that said, Andrea, would you have any parting thoughts? Thanks to
Uh,
everyone
th-
for coming.
Thank you for being here. And just know that if you're interested in this program, from my personal experience as a current student, I really like the program here and the fact that it's really apply economics. You have a lot of econometrics, and I'm realizing more and more that I will be ready to face either the industry or a PhD program based on the classes that I am taking here. So, yeah, I like it.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. But we hope to have students who have good experiences. And Andrea was actually at a conference here in the past couple of weeks at the National Association of Business Economists and met Jerome Powell.
All
Um,
right.
so I will not promise that everyone who comes to our program will meet the former Federal Reserve Chairman, but I mean, it
There
could
are
happen.
opportunities.
There,
Yes.
there, there are chances
Yep.
for students to attend conferences. You just need to have ambition and ask for resources and make me say I'm sorry. I can't find the money. But like, I have done pretty well. We have done pretty well trying to get students to do things that they need to do. And so with that said, let me hit